What is up, Clarity community? How's it going? Logan here. I'm back again on the YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. We have a very special guest today, Craig, who is a founder of GoKey. We're going to be talking about how Clarity is collaborating with GoKey in terms of creating DAO-owned and operated real estate. There's a lot of exciting things going on in the GoKey community that we'll talk about. But really, Craig, welcome to the Clarity YouTube channel. Thanks for making the time to come on.
Hey, Logan, thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Absolutely. So how this will go is we just have a few questions for you. Some are, tell us about yourself, that type of thing, and some are more philosophical things. So we'll just kind of go through them and let the conversation stem naturally from these talking points. So first off, tell us about yourself and what led you to the blockchain space and how'd you get here?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, my name's Craig Immel. I'm the founder of GoKey. I've been working in the real estate and construction management type space and consulting space for over 2 decades now. These are industries they're kind of vital to people's lives and the economy, but they are also pretty slow to evolve in terms of like digital transformation. So I've always been really interested in how technology can be applied in those spaces. Everything from like in the late 90s, early 2000s, just putting real estate listings on websites was like kind of a groundbreaking thing at that time. So people from all over the world could visit your website and see what properties were for sale in your area. But over time, that's evolved to started incorporating all kinds of new technology, and now here we are trying to find some pretty incredible applications for blockchain technology in those spaces.
Awesome. So that bleeds well into the next question that we have for you is just tell us about GoKey. So tell us about GoKey DAO. Tell us about the goals of GoKey, and then let's start there.
Okay. Yeah, so GoKey is essentially a platform that we've created to help our users use technology to basically redefine how they do real estate, either in their life at a personal level or a business level or as a community. So, we're really focused in 2 primary areas. One, the DAO, as you know, creating a platform for communities of people, either IRL communities or online communities, to come together and co-own and co-manage properties as active investments. And also we're working on a set of peer-to-peer financing tools so that any 2 individuals can come together and create new transactional types of opportunities around financing property. So really focused on things like owner financing, lease purchase types of agreements. We're preparing to roll out a real estate options platform, which is really exciting. We're pursuing actually a patent on that process. So the idea being that we can, both with the DAO and with these peer-to-peer types of products, we're taking these really old school types of doing real estate and adding a layer of the most advanced technology that we can to kind of create this hybrid of old school types of financial arrangements and cooperative ownership of properties with modern immutable governance tools, some of those provided by Clarity.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to double click into the GoKey DAO and also just the pilot project you guys have. So I'm on this interview not only as a person representing Clarity, but also as a member of the GoKey DAO. And what we're doing right now is we're getting ready to have a DAO owned and operated plot of land in the mountains in Colorado, which is very exciting. So we're all going to have membership units in the form of digital assets We're going to be able to vote on the development of this land, how community funds are used to develop it, and it's going to be really exciting. So can you tell us a little bit about, what we're calling it is GoKey Basecamp, and how that is just the start of something bigger where there can be DAO owned, it's a plot of land right now, but eventually it could be a multifamily home. Eventually it could be an apartment complex that people come together. And also maybe talk a little bit about just the compliance part of it, and our joint proposal, in Catalyst Fund 11 here to open source the process so that anyone can create an investment DAO in the United States.
Yeah, sure. So I'm right there with you. I think this is super exciting. When we launched GoKey, we really were focused on this kind of peer-to-peer type of financing tools that we talked about earlier. But as our communities grew and more people started asking about GoKey, it became really clear people wanted ways to invest in real estate. And it wasn't something that we were really prepared to tackle right away because, just from professional experience, I know that a lot of investment type products, whether they're blockchain based or not, can pretty quickly step into the world of regulated securities. But on the other hand, I've also known that as a real estate broker and participant in the market, that I've seen families, groups of friends, small communities pool their resources together and buy properties and own them and manage them in ways that are not securities. So kind of the conversation started going around, well, like, how do we take that kind of old-fashioned concept and add in a layer of technology that can basically remove friction and make it more efficient and more transparent, into taking a community of online friends, who some of us are closer with those people than some of our other IRL friends and family after a time. So how do we get together and create a platform that enables us to do that? So with lots of research, lots of speaking with several attorneys, tax consultants, and finally finding the right team and the right model, we've landed on a model that's basically, it's the SEC has provided guidance. The U.S. Securities Exchange Commission, which for those who don't know is tasked with regulating investment contracts, investment offerings, things like that. Basically, they have issued guidance relating to how they are not going to regulate something that they use the term investment club. So we use the term investment club basically just to help define a group of people. It's a private community of people. Every individual is an active investor in this thing. So, it's a really important distinction between what we're doing at GoKey DAO versus some other type of regulated investment product, is that it's not a passive investment, right? You don't join GoKey DAO and buy a share, make a deposit, and collect, a return every quarter or what have you. Like, you're an active participant in making investment decisions related to a property. So an investment club can be a lot of things. It could be a piece of vacant land. It could be a small apartment building. It could be a vacation rental. It could be something a family uses and rents part-time. It could be a lending pool. It could be a lot of things. So the fact is, though, that there's a lot to learn around this space, like combining this kind of old-fashioned investment club concept with new blockchain-based tools and tokens that represent various property rights at different times. So in the spirit of, crawling before we run, we're acquiring as a community a small piece of vacant land in Colorado. Like you said, we're calling it GoKey Basecamp, both from kind of the figurative use of the term, like, hey, this is where we're starting as GoKey DAO, and we're going to figure some things out, and when it's right to move forward, we're going to do more advanced co-investments in our community. But on the fun side of things, we're also going to build an actual 3-season sort of base camp where members of our community, especially those closer to Colorado, can come and hang out in the mountains. And man, it's a great spot, and we're going to have a lot of fun there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to get out there. I know that a few of us are going out to East Denver, and we're going to visit base camp and really, make it physical and see what kind of land that we all co-own. So that's super exciting. Now moving into a little more philosophical stuff, just to kind of get to know, how you think about this space. I know that the reason I am drawn to blockchain is because it creates a superior source of truth. So it's a date in my head. It's kind of like a new type of database where it's not the government that controls it. It's not a large entity that controls it. It's a distributed network that controls a database that records information, a new type of ledger. So question to you is why do you believe in blockchain? Why do you think it is an innovative technology that's going to seep into all these different industries, but notably real estate?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would take what you just said, and I agree 100%. And I think I would add to that the reason that all of that is important, the centralized source of, or central source of truth, I should say, and on the distributed ledger that can't be manipulated by any one party, is fundamentally the ability to remove trust issues from financial transactions amongst individuals who don't know each other very well, right? So, just quick example, the peer-to-peer type of financing that we've decided is an ideal application for this technology is, think of something like a lease purchase agreement, where it's a little bit different way to maybe buy a first home. Like, let's say I'm renting a house and I know that my landlord might want to sell it in a couple of years. So we enter into an arrangement where I lease for a couple of years, and at some point we roll that into an agreement for me to buy the property, just for example. Unfortunately, theoretically, that's great. In practice, there have been a lot of people who've been taken advantage of and basically rug pulled by unscrupulous owners or landlords who decided, hey, you've paid all this money, but now I'm not going to sell it to you. And sometimes those people don't have recourse either because, maybe they just don't have the money to take this person to court, even though what they're doing is probably illegal. If you can start to address those types of transactions with blockchain technology, it can be a real game changer for helping people access property ownership, which is, in my mind, a fundamental building block of financial security for individuals and families. So we think there's a ton of potential there.
Yeah, I agree. So, we talked about blockchain. So why do you believe in Cardano? Obviously, GoKey is building on top of the Cardano blockchain. You guys are going to run your governance and treasury management on top of the Cardano blockchain, leveraging Clarity. So what brought you to Cardano? Why do you believe in it?
Yeah, so once we decided that we wanted to explore blockchain-based solutions for these problems, basically, we went out on a search. We knew we needed a smart contract platform. We knew we wanted to use a smart contract platform that was kind of obviously top tier with a very large and growing community. And so that narrowed down the field pretty quickly. But we also knew that we needed, for people who are potentially paying like a mortgage payment or rental payment, we needed not only deterministic fees, but we needed very low fees. I mean, it would never make sense to make a $1,000 mortgage payment and have to pay $200 in gas, like without expecting it, right? So we also wanted to, this was before Ethereum was proof of stake, but we wanted to look at more environmentally sustainable blockchains. So we were drawn to proof of stake, of course. Another, probably the most important element. Once we really started digging into Cardano, we started to really understand the power of native assets and native tokens on the blockchain, whether fungible tokens or NFTs. And for our platform to work, we knew that we were going to need to have an ability to quickly and affordably, without a lot of technical overhead, create tokens representing different types of property rights at different times and amongst different parties, and have a cost-effective way to transfer those between the parties that needed to custody them. So that was probably the biggest driver. But then we also, you know our team super well, and we are not the most technically advanced team in terms of Haskell development or Plutus, and we have some chops in some other programming languages that are more known, but we've always had this philosophy that our users, and really anyone building any type of blockchain application, for all of these products to work and have an audience in the future, they need to be super easy to use for everyone. So like as easy to use, if not easier at some point, than like something like WordPress or maybe even Facebook, right? Like that's why we need to get our next billion, 2 billion, 3 billion users. So we needed a chain where there was a community that was actively building no code and low code solutions, so that we knew that we could confidently start going down this path, and that we would have more and more options to build the things we needed to build without having to be basically having to go out and find developers that are in such demand right now. I mean, there's statistically never going to be enough developers to develop all the technology we need for the world. So I'm a huge fan of low code and no code. So we saw what they were doing with Marlowe, products like Clarity, InMaker, Cardano Press. I don't know. That's a long-winded version of answering your question, but there's a lot to it, and a lot that went into the decision behind why we wanted to use Cardano. And there were moments in the last couple of years where you kind of question yourself, like, did we make the right decision? We're still here, and we're not going anywhere, because by far, this is the best fit for what we're trying to build at GoKey.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we're seeing is that a lot of these low code, no code tools that are being built over the last bear market are coming to fruition, especially like Clarity. Like for us, we were like, oh, we want to build a DAO. And then we're like, holy moly, like the amount of effort it's going to take to actually build an on-chain treasury with automatically executing proposals. It's going to take hundreds of thousands of dollars and more money to get it audited and all of that stuff. So we're like, look, this is a huge need for the ecosystem, the need for anyone to be able to have an idea and create an on-chain entity to govern that idea. So that's why we exist. And there's other tools like InMaker, minting a native asset in the CLI. I don't even know how you would do it, but with InMaker, you just log on and you're able to do it pretty quickly. And those are the type of tools that are going to drive real world adoption. So next question for you is, what is your quick take on DAOs? Why do you like them? What do you think about them?
Yeah, so, to be honest, it took me a long time to really get my head around the value proposition of DAOs. It's easier for me to really grasp. And when you think about a smaller community, like it makes perfect sense for what we're doing. With relatively small communities right now of like less than 100 individuals who want to make decisions together and govern / manage an asset together, even a real world asset. I guess when it comes to digital assets and communities that want to natively co-own and co-manage digital assets, it makes a ton of sense. But I've also, read some articles written by, there's Eric Voorhees, the founder of Shapeshift, he converted his corporation to a DAO. And that article was really eye-opening because it really described how it could create a more nimble and flexible and transparent operation, especially when you're looking at going globally. So you have like kind of one organization instead of, you know, an S corp in the United States and another corporate entity in Germany or the EU and another all around. And then so when it comes to like hiring people and or just getting things done in the organization, like it's so much easier for the members of the DAO to issue a bounty and hire the individual that comes forward and does the best work at the right amount of time versus, you know, a formal employment agreement in each country. And just at a global interestingly enough, like at a small community scale and at a global scale is where DAOs make the most sense to me. But I definitely think like you're going to see more and more types of business organizations and nonprofit organizations, and really organizations of all kinds start to dabble in the structure. And even if they don't call them DAOs, like, you know, our real estate platform, you know, it's you could look at it and call it a cooperative, but when you start adding in the digital assets and governance assets and the on-chain recording and voting, you know, then it's something a little bit in between. So sort of a hybrid. Yeah. So it might be called by something a little different in the future, possibly, but the general concept, I think, is probably the future of where the highest performing organizations are going to be.
Yeah, it's a very interesting concept, DAOs. I mean, you can imagine that, you know, they're good for organizations that want to be transparent. They're good for protocols that want to be user owned. They're good for, you know, I don't know, all these different use cases. Maybe it's a community around a sports team, or it's a mission-driven community, a religious community, which is where we're seeing pop up in the Clarity ecosystem as well. So there's a lot of different use cases that people are starting to experiment, and this is just a new take on organizational structures that came to fruition because blockchain enables the automatic execution of organization-wide votes. So it's really exciting. So last question for you, and then we will wrap up the video. So Clarity. We are helping and partnering with GoKey to create DAO-owned and operated real estate. So we're starting with that base camp, but from our collaboration, what is your dream to see come to fruition?
Well, you know, first of all, I think I would just point out to anyone watching this, like the relationship between GoKey and Clarity is not new. So we've been working together for a couple of years now, and I've always really appreciated how you guys, you know, you're always listening and paying attention to, you know, big issues that we pop up, not necessarily issues with Clarity, but things that we wish we could do, or that would be great to be able to do, and even small things. And you have an ability to kind of react to that. And it's kind of created an environment where I feel like we're sort of innovating together. So I'd love to continue that and just continue working towards finding like the best practical applications for both of our platforms, including when it comes to not only the technical side of things, but like legal issues and other financial issues that need to kind of get baked into the cake as well when we're talking about these things. But yeah, so but as far as the future, you know, in our DAO token gated Discord channels, we have a whole community forum about different sub DAO proposal ideas, from, you know, multifamily type properties where, you know, we could own properties together as communities, but also where tenants in the properties could even be members of DAOs and help them get some exposure to the upside value of the properties that they are paying rent in. And there's ideas for properties in Costa Rica and Europe, and salons owned by women, and all kinds of interesting things. So, it's going to take a lot of collaboration and thinking through some of these things in a lot of different ways. So I'm just looking forward to working on all of that kind of thing with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of that resonates with me. The part of like, you guys come to us with feature ideas and we're like, oh, okay, so that could be useful for a lot of different use cases, right? So we really do pride ourselves with working with the people using the infrastructure. So we're building things that are actually useful. And then the other part is, all of these sub DAOs, I'm excited about them. Like, how cool would it be to, be one of 50 people that own a portion of, a mountain property somewhere in the Alps, in Italy or something like that. And then, 2 days out of the year as a member, you're able to go there, stay for free, but you're also owning that asset. So you're also becoming a real estate investor. Because especially in my generation, it is so hard to own real estate. Like the way just the financial situation is, how much capital you actually have to amount in order to buy a property yourself. Like my generation is kind of screwed. So let's keep going to really democratize ownership of real estate in this DAO structure. That's really what I want to see. And the last thing I want to talk about is GoKey and Clarity. We have a joint proposal in Fund 11. So what we're going to do is open source and release documentation on exactly how we have gone about creating a compliant investment club that operates within a DAO structure in the United States. Now, this has been a challenge for us to uncover. We've had me and Craig hop on so many different meetings with attorneys and accountants to try to figure out how this works. We found a structure that works. We're using it to co-own and operate the GoKey Basecamp to start. But really, we want there to be a ton of different projects that are able to create investment clubs in the United States as a part of this proposal and this movement that we're creating. So, Craig, any closing thoughts before we end the recording?
No, I don't think so. I'm glad you mentioned the Catalyst proposal. I hope people will check it out and consider voting for it. I don't think it's asking for a lot of funding, and it's something that could offer real value, so that anyone that wants to spin up, whether it's on the GoKey platform or not, if they want to spin up a small investment club using Clarity or some other way, like, they're not going to kind of have to spend the hundreds of hours and the thousands of dollars that we've invested so far. It's just something we're excited to be able to share back to the Cardano community. We've got a lot going on at GoKey. We keep a lot of it kind of close to the chest and don't talk about it. Some of it we're even pursuing a patent for, but there's some stuff that we want to open source and try to be generous with. So would love to have support for that proposal. So appreciate you guys being involved in that with us. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about it too. And one other thing is Clarity has a big 1,000 ADA weekly giveaway going on. So I'm going to make an incentive. If you made it this deep in the video, this is Lenny, Lenny. If you put in that secret code, it is going to give you like 400 points, and that will help you stack up points to get those. So thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you on the next Clarity YouTube video. Thank you, Craig, again.
Thanks, Logan. Bye, everyone.